Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Meor and my metric number is 18PE01034. Okay, today me and my team are going to make a presentation about an overview of a research article called First Language Acquisition Theory and the Transition to Second Language Acquisition by Mohammad Torikul Islam. Okay, first of all, there are three main components in this research, which is the theories, the behaviorism theory, the mentalist theory, and the social interaction theory. And then in the next section, the author will explain about the interlanguage theory. And last but not least, he explained about how from interlanguage transition to second language acquisition. Okay, first of all, let's talk about the behaviorism theory. Okay, the behaviorism theory is the first FLA theories, and in this research, the author explained that the behaviorism theory is about the relation of a particular response toward a particular stimulus that is linked regularly again until a habit is formed. In this research, the author also explained that the behaviorism theory is always been criticized that learning cannot happen only through imitation, as language are set of structures and rules. This theory also fails on considering the creativity and novelty of language that used by a child. Okay, next, the author mentioned about the mentalist theory. Okay, what is mentalist theory? Mentalist theory was founded by Noam Chomsky, and he said that the child's knowledge of their mother tongue is derived from the universal grammar (UG) and language acquisition device (LAD). The aid of LAD able to unconsciously identify the language and adjust the grammar to the correct one. And next, let's talk about the social interaction theory. The social interaction theory included both behaviorism and the mentalist theory. As the name suggests, it emphasizes on the environmental and context to acquire a language. And in this theory, he suggests the proto-conversation is recommended, a conversational exchange between the caregiver and the child. Next is the interlanguage theory by Selinker. And in this theory, interlanguage is defined as the linguistic stage that a second language acquisition learner must go through to acquire it. It is an intermediate between the learner's first language and their next target language. There are 5 principal processes in interlanguage theories, which is the language transfer, the overgeneralization, the transfer of training, strategies of second language learning, and lastly, the strategies of the second language communication. This theory is a system that has a cognitive emphasis and focus on the strategies that the learner must employ when they're trying to learn the second language.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Mohammad Faris bin Abdul Aziz and my matrix number is 18B01040. Okay, not only we have interlanguage theory by Selinker, but we have interlanguage theory by Jemian, by Zobel, Throne, Ellis and Faf. Okay, that 5 people including Selinker. Okay, these theories all talk about the phases that people had to go through when from first language acquisition to second language acquisition. Okay, the conclusion on the interlanguage theory is that the 3 basic characteristics of interlanguage system is permeable, dynamic and systematic. Learners are able to observe and carefully understand the different linguistic roles between interlanguage and L2 and they learn it correctly. And interlanguage is in kind of interim grammar, gradually processing towards the target language grammar. Okay, for FLA theories and interlanguage theory transition to SLA. Okay, here we generally want to talk about, okay, for proving SLA, they have many first language acquisition theories to prove it. And the theory, it can be summed up as, for interlanguage, second learners follow a university route that is not largely influenced by factors such as place or L1 background. The controlling factor is the faculty of language that we have in us, and all human beings have it. Okay, the author's point of view is that okay, it is time to find FLA theories and how to prove it, and the transition to SLA. Okay, it talks about the three different theories, behaviorism, mentalism, and social interactionist, and it discussed little on social interactionist. First point and the second point, it talks about behaviorist, mentalist, and social interactionist. That's the first point. The second point, interlanguage theories and seminal contribution to the researchers. Okay, lastly, they said that all theories involved is some form of mechanism, which is three: language acquisition support system director, language acquisition device director, and child director speech.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Nur Fauzani binti Muhammad Apandi, metric number 18BE01041. Okay, now let's talk about our point of view. We do believe that mentalist theory and social interaction theory are better than behaviorism theory in terms of providing the evidence, the first language theories to transition of second language acquisition. Okay, we do agree with the mentalist theory rather than behaviorism theory because we can see it is more logic. We know that children are born with specific innate ability and they can discover themselves the rules of language systems by using with the help of universal grammar, critical period hypothesis, CPH, and linguistic or language acquisition devices. These children can use the systems in their brain because all of these systems actually are hardwired in their brain and they know how to use it when it is necessary. Let's move on to our point of view on social interactionist theory. Okay, actually the social interactionist theory brings advantages to the second language acquisition field. Between behaviorist and mentalist or innatist theory that don't go along, actually social interactionist theories can merge between these two theories. Okay, social interactionist theory stresses on the environment and pragmatics of a particular language. It's less stress on the grammar development. So it is the language is used as a social devices to communicate, and the learners ignore the grammatical rules that exist in the language. Okay, this makes the learners know basic communication before they learn the grammar rules. I have mentioned it before. Okay, interaction and social is essential in this theory. Okay, when we talk about social interactionist theory, we know that interaction and social are the most important thing in this theory. Okay, it is a point of view on the interlanguage. Okay, it is very important to know this field of study. Okay, we know that interlanguage is indicated that there are strong similarities and the developmental route followed by the different second language learners. Okay, the last one for the point of view on interlanguage is it is controlled by the faculty for language for all human beings. Okay, now we are discussing some recommendation for this article. Okay, because of this article discusses on the first language acquisition has contributed something to the development of second language acquisition study. The author should give a list of similarities and a list of comparison between these two field of studies. Okay, the author should also come up with the characteristics of good first language learners and also the characteristics of good second language learners for the readers as their reference. Okay, between nature and nurture that are mentioned in this article, the author should, the first one, elaborate more on how language is transmitted between generations and which behaviors are naturally programmed. Okay, the last one is if innatism is adequate or sufficient to explain the first language acquisition. Okay, the author should present the findings from the other scholars or other researchers on how the second language learners acquire their second language after passing their critical period hypothesis or CPH. That's all from us. Thank you for listening to us. Assalamualaikum.